All right, everyone. So today we're going to unpack a really fascinating story from the world of K-pop. It's all about public perception, harsh criticism, and honestly, an incredible story of growth. It's a look at how a story can get set in stone by the public and what it takes to completely, and I mean completely, shatter it. So let's dive right into the big question, because this is really at the heart of what we're talking about today. In an industry where, let's be real, one bad performance can follow you forever, how does someone manage to do a total 180? We're going to explore how one K-pop idol didn't just face the music, she completely flipped the script on her own story, turning what everyone said was her biggest weakness into her most celebrated strength. You see comments like this now flooding the internet about SSERAFIM Sakura. But to really get why a comment like this is such a huge deal, why it represents this massive shift in thinking, we have to rewind. We've got to understand the context. Because this was not the conversation people were having just a little while ago. Not even close. Okay, so let's get into the backstory here. Every story of a major comeback has that chapter of struggle, right? Well, for this group, that struggle wasn't happening behind the scenes. Nope. It was right out in the open, front and center, for the entire world to see and, well, to judge. For a pretty long time, the group's live singing skills were a constant and often really harsh topic of conversation online. We're not talking about a few negative comments here and there. This became a core part of their public identity, a narrative that followed them everywhere, and created this immense pressure, especially for a group still pretty early in their career. So what's really key to understand here is how it all started. It was a single moment, an encore performance, which, is often supposed to be raw and unfiltered. But that moment sparked this huge debate. And from that debate, it just snowballed. Sakura specifically found herself right at the epicenter of the criticism. And from that point on, every single live performance was put under a microscope. People were literally listening for mistakes. And that right there, that's the real challenge. Once the internet decides on a story, it is incredibly hard to change it. The narrative was set. This group, and this one member in particular, just can't handle live vocals. This set the stage for a massive uphill battle that Sakura had to fight, not just in the practice room, but in the court of public opinion. So how do you do it? How do you change a story that seems like it's been carved in stone? How do you prove millions of people wrong? Well, it doesn't happen overnight, but the public shift, the big turnaround, can be cemented by a single unforgettable performance. And that is exactly what happened here. The setting for this was so important. The group didn't just pick any random show. They went on The Seasons, a program that's famous and really respected for showcasing genuine, raw, live musical talent. There is absolutely no hiding on a stage like that. Just showing up was a statement. It was like they were declaring, okay, you want to hear us sing? Here we are. And then you look at their song choice. This is brilliant. Instead of performing one of their own high-energy, dance-heavy tracks, they took on a massive challenge. They covered Stalker, a really beloved and vocally complex song by another artist. That decision stripped away everything, the choreography, the spectacle, and put their raw voices, their harmonies, and their emotion right in the spotlight. It was a huge risk, but it had the potential for a huge reward. And really, it all comes down to this one simple number. It took just one song, on one stage, in one performance, to completely flip that long-standing public narrative on its head. All the months of criticism, all the doubt, all of it was challenged in the span of just a few minutes of music. So they took the gamble. Did it actually pay off? Oh yeah. After the performance clip hit the internet, the reaction was immediate, it was massive, and it was just overwhelmingly positive. The comments section basically told a brand new story, one of genuine shock, respect, and admiration. Now, you really have to pay attention to the wording in comments like this. The praise isn't just, wow, they sound great. The focus immediately jumps to the effort that must have gone into it. It's not just, she sounds good, it's how hard did she have to work to get this good? The audience wasn't just hearing a result. They were seeing the journey. And the comments just kept coming, zeroing in on Sakura, the very same person who used to be the main target of all that negativity. The story was no longer just about the group as a whole getting better.
For the public, it became about recognizing her personal transformation as something truly dramatic, something that could only have happened through incredible dedication.
This slide right here really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? The contrast is just night and day. It's a complete 180-degree turn. The conversation shifted from her vocal weakness to her incredible hard work. The doubts about her live ability were totally replaced by a celebration of her massive improvement. And that intense negative scrutiny on her as one person, that transformed into recognizing how much she contributed to the entire group's growth. The narrative was officially and permanently rewritten.
So, this amazing turnaround, it's not just some random lucky event. It actually fits perfectly into a really well-known and beloved archetype in the music industry, especially in Japan, which is where Sakura first became famous. It's this whole idea of the growth-type idol.
And this is the crucial part to understand. For this type of idol, the audience connects just as much, if not more, with the story of the struggle and the visible hard work. They get invested in the journey. It's not about being perfect from day one. It's about the climb, and it's about letting your fans watch you work, watch you maybe even stumble, and then watch you ultimately succeed because of your sheer will and determination.
And this is why Sakura's story resonates so strongly with so many people. I mean, think about it. She was already a huge star in Japan. She could have just coasted on that popularity. But, as one person pointed out, instead of just getting comfortable, she genuinely kept growing. She is the living embodiment of this powerful idea of never settling, of facing your weakest points head on, and of putting in the work even when you're already at the top.
And all of this really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Sakura's story, it's not just about getting better at singing. Sure, it's a story of talent, but it's so much more than that. It's a story of unbelievable resilience and the power of pure dedication in the face of intense public pressure. And that's a powerful lesson, not just for performers, but for any of us trying to improve when it feels like everyone is watching. It just proves that while criticism might be instant, real growth is timeless. And that's a story people will always, always root for.